We all experience anxiety. It's a natural human emotion. But sometimes our habits and behaviors can unknowingly fuel the fire, leaving us feeling trapped in a cycle of worry and fear. The truth is, lasting peace and joy require us to be brave enough to confront the things that keep us stuck. Throughout this video, we'll explore some common habits that might be amplifying your anxiety and preventing you from living a wholehearted life. Remember, acknowledging these habits is not about judgment, but about self-compassion and taking the first step towards lasting change. Let's talk about worry. We all do it, right? It's like this constant background noise, a loop of what-ifs and potential disasters playing on repeat in our minds. But when does worry cross the line from a normal human experience to something more? When we find ourselves excessively worrying, our minds become fixated on negative possibilities. We might replay past mistakes, overanalyze present situations, or anticipate future problems, often without any real basis in reality. This constant state of mental churn can leave us feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and paralyzed by fear. The key is to recognize when worry starts to consume our thoughts and prevent us from engaging fully in our lives. It's about noticing the physical sensations that accompany excessive worry, the racing heart, the tightness in our chest, the difficulty concentrating. Avoidance. We've all been there. That feeling of wanting to run and hide from anything that triggers our anxiety. It's a natural instinct, a way to protect ourselves from discomfort. But here's the catch. While avoidance might offer temporary relief, it ultimately strengthens our anxiety in the long run. Think about it. Every time we avoid a situation that makes us anxious, we're essentially telling our brains that this situation is indeed something to be feared. We're reinforcing the belief that we're not strong enough to handle it. And so the anxiety grows stronger, the walls we build around ourselves grow higher, and our world shrinks a little bit more. The alternative? Facing our fears head on. I know it's easier said than done, but courage isn't the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Our thoughts shape our beliefs, influence our emotions, and determine our lives. But when the voice inside our heads is self-critical and negative, it can be damaging. It chips away at our self-esteem and keeps us from pursuing our dreams. The key to overcoming negative self-talk is self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a dear friend. We've all been there, that looming deadline, that task we've been putting off. Procrastination leads to a cycle of stress and anxiety. We think we'll have more time later, but that future rarely arrives. Instead, we scramble last minute, sacrificing sleep and well-being. The key is understanding procrastination's root causes, like fear of failure or feeling overwhelmed. Break tasks into smaller steps, set realistic deadlines, and celebrate progress. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to neglect sleep. We wear our busyness as a badge of honor, sacrificing sleep for productivity, but our bodies and minds pay the price. Sleep deprivation wreaks havoc on our health, leaving us vulnerable to anxiety. Improving sleep habits can profoundly impact our well-being, including anxiety levels. Create a relaxing bedtime routine and ensure your bedroom is conducive to restful sleep. Let's face it, we live in a digitally saturated world. Our smartphones, tablets, and laptops have become extensions of ourselves, keeping us constantly connected, informed, and entertained. But at what cost? While technology offers undeniable benefits, excessive screen time, particularly when it comes to social media, can have a detrimental impact on our mental health, including our anxiety levels. The constant barrage of information, the carefully curated highlight reels of others' lives, and the pressure to present a perfect online persona can leave us feeling inadequate, anxious, and disconnected from the present moment. Setting healthy boundaries with technology is crucial for protecting our mental well-being. This might involve designating specific times for checking social media, silencing notifications, or engaging in digital detoxes to reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. In a world that often prioritizes mental exertion over physical activity, it's easy to neglect the profound connection between our bodies and minds. We sit for hours on end, hunched over our desks, glued to our screens, neglecting the innate need for movement that is hardwired into our very being. But here's the thing. Physical activity is not just about maintaining physical fitness. It's an essential component of mental well-being. When we move our bodies, we release endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that have mood-boosting and anxiety-reducing effects. Regular exercise, whether it's a brisk walk in nature, a dance class, or a gym session, can help us manage stress, improve sleep, boost self-esteem, and cultivate a sense of empowerment. As human beings, we are wired for connection. We thrive in community, finding solace, support, and a sense of belonging in our relationships with others. But in today's fast-paced world, it's easy to find ourselves isolated, physically or emotionally, from the very people who bring meaning and purpose to our lives. We prioritize work over social engagements, retreat into the comfort of our homes after long days, and increasingly rely on technology for our social interactions. While solitude can be restorative, chronic isolation can have a detrimental impact on our mental health, leading to feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. Making an effort to nurture our relationships, prioritize face-to-face interactions, and engage in activities that foster a sense of community can make a world of difference in our overall well-being. Our minds are incredibly powerful tools, capable of creating beautiful dreams and innovative solutions. But they can also be our own worst enemies, particularly when it comes to anxiety. Catastrophizing, that tendency to automatically assume the worst-case scenario in any given situation, can send our anxiety levels soaring. We might find ourselves dwelling on potential disasters, magnifying risks, and convincing ourselves that something terrible is about to happen, even when there's little to no evidence to support these fears. The key to overcoming catastrophizing is to challenge those negative thought patterns. It's about asking ourselves, what's the evidence for this thought? Is there another way to look at this situation? What's the most likely outcome? We live in a culture that often glorifies achievement, productivity, and the pursuit of perfection. We're bombarded with messages that tell us we need to be thinner, richer, more successful, more put together to be worthy of love, acceptance, and happiness. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion, a moving target that we'll never quite reach. And the pursuit of it can be incredibly damaging to our mental health, leading to chronic stress, anxiety, and a constant sense of inadequacy. Perfectionism is often rooted in a fear of failure, a belief that our worthiness is contingent upon our accomplishments. It's about setting unrealistic standards for ourselves and then beating ourselves up when we inevitably fall short. The key to overcoming perfectionism is to embrace imperfection, to recognize that our flaws, mistakes, and vulnerabilities are not something to be ashamed of, but rather an integral part of what makes us human. In a world that values busyness and productivity, it's easy to fall into the trap of overcommitting. We say yes to every request, take on more responsibilities than we can handle, and stretch ourselves thin in an attempt to please everyone. But here's the thing. Constantly saying yes without prioritizing our own needs can lead to burnout, resentment, and a host of mental and physical health issues, including increased anxiety. When we overcommit, we sacrifice our time, energy, and emotional well-being, leaving ourselves with little to no reserves to recharge and replenish. The key to overcoming overcommitment is to set healthy boundaries, learn to say no with grace and compassion, and prioritize our own well-being. It's about recognizing that it's okay to decline requests, delegate tasks, and create space for the things that bring us joy and rejuvenation. Boundaries. They're not about being selfish, rude, or difficult. They're about self-respect, self-love, and protecting our most valuable resources, our time, energy, and emotional well-being. When we fail to set clear boundaries, we open ourselves up to being taken advantage of, overextended, and emotionally drained. We might find ourselves saying yes to requests we don't have the capacity for, tolerating disrespectful behavior, or neglecting our own needs in an attempt to please others. Setting boundaries is about communicating our limits clearly and respectfully, enforcing those limits with compassion, and prioritizing our own well-being. It's about recognizing that we have the right to say no, to protect our time and energy, and to create a life that aligns with our values and priorities. We all have those moments when our minds get stuck in a loop, replaying past mistakes, worrying about future events, or analyzing every detail of a situation ad nauseum. This process, known as rumination, can be incredibly draining and counterproductive, keeping us trapped in a cycle of negative thoughts and preventing us from moving forward. When we ruminate, we're essentially picking at emotional scabs, preventing them from healing properly. The key to breaking free from rumination is to develop self-awareness, to notice when our minds are spiraling down the rabbit hole of negative thoughts. Once we've identified that we're ruminating, we can start to challenge those thoughts, reframe them in a more positive or realistic light, and engage in activities that help us shift our focus to the present moment. Remember, acknowledging these habits is the first step towards lasting change. It's about recognizing that you're not alone in this journey, and that there is hope for a brighter, more peaceful future. Take what resonates with you from this video and start implementing small, actionable steps towards breaking free from these anxiety-inducing habits. You deserve to live a life filled with joy, purpose, and a deep sense of inner peace.